Wake Up Tech Solutions podcast. And today I got Greg. And tell me a little bit more about yourself.
I'm Greg McCord. I'm the CISO over at Lightcast.io. I've also founded my own company, McCord Keystone Advisory, where I help smaller organizations who can't afford a CISO or a security expert, help build out a security program for them so they can accelerate their journeys.
So you were talking about that you have a program for if you can't afford CISOs, if you're not able to get a CISO, and you have all these programs about this. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so when you're a startup or you're trying to solve a problem with the product, right? You don't necessarily have the time to focus on all the security aspects of that. My job, if I were to be included into that, would be to help them understand the security aspects at the very beginning of whatever their product or solution is, so that when they build and they get to that point where, hey, now I do need a CISO, they're not already behind, right? And then they have to fix everything they did is they went to MVP for. Because nowadays, we look around and stare at RSA, almost everything about security, right? That's kind of the idea. So I think it just makes sense to help them at the very beginning of their journey.
Awesome. And what was your motivation to do that?
Well, one of my core values is positively advancing humanity. Now, obviously that'll mean something different for everyone else, but for me, I just want to make sure that, me being a CISO, it's cutthroat as it is, I want to be able to give back. And I know we got AI and the advancement of AI, and that's like shaking up the whole workforce. So I know it's going to be tough for us, but it's also going to be tough for the startups as well, right? Yeah, you can create a company, but you may not necessarily have the expertise to make sure you have all the controls in place.
Yes, that is true. What do you think is the most challenging aspect for a startup?
A startup is which idea is going to be the one that actually solves a problem. I've seen that. I've been walking around the halls. I'm seeing a lot of the same ways to attempt to solve something, but I haven't been able to get some clear answers on what problems they're actually trying to solve. The same things like identity and things like that, but that hasn't gone away. But we've been trying to solve that problem for how many years now? So least privilege, RBAC, ABAC, so you start naming them off. And then we got PAM, you just, IAM, I don't know. I can name off all the acronyms almost, right? So that same problem still exists, so is finding a tool the appropriate way to solve it, right? Or is it governance, or is it something else? So I think when we see how AI is jumping into this whole mix, it's really interesting. So how is that going to shape up how to potentially solve a problem like identity?
Yeah. What was your motivation, inspiration to get into CISO? Or what was your backstory on that?
Yeah, so I grew up in Indiana. So I actually didn't even touch a computer until I was an adult, which is kind of interesting. And I love playing video games. I love doing all those types of things. So that was kind of my passion, because I didn't want to really do anything else. I love computers. I love playing games. So then I started to tear them apart and figure out how they worked. Then the next part is, well, if I can do that, then somebody else can do that, and that will be my thing, right? So they're going to break into my stuff. So it became really fun to think like an attacker and then try to secure things. So I was in active duty military, defense contractor in Germany, and then I eventually came over and worked for Pacific Life for a little while and helped them lead their RST program, then FAST, and then over at Lightcast, where I built the program over here as well. So I love to build InfoSec programs.
That's awesome. And for anybody that is trying to get into cyber, what do you recommend? Do you recommend anybody that get into certifications, bachelor's and master's? What would you say on that perspective? And also, what would be your background as well?
I mean, I would always go back, what is your passion? Like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to be an attacker or an ethical hacker, or a security researcher? Do you want to be on the defense? Do you want to be in audit? Do you want to be in compliance? For those who are like devils in the details, right? You may like compliance and audit versus somebody who's on defense or who's on like a red team or a purple team, right? So it just depends on really what you want to do. Then that's where you kind of drive like your beginning of your cert path, if you want to get a cert. But everything at the end of the day is like certs, degrees, all that stuff is helpful, but all that does is get you a foot in the door, right? It's what you do with your work and how you're able to showcase and sell yourself. That's what's going to land you the good jobs that you actually want to do.
And how do you like RSA so far? What have you seen? Any cool booths? Anything cool? Anything here?
I mean, RSA it's overwhelming, right? There's so many people down here in San Francisco, and I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of just this inundation of AI and many, many companies trying to figure out how to roll out their own ideas and how to solve what they perceive are the problems within different sections of AI. Whether you break it down from an LLM to an MCP and an agent, so on and so forth. I didn't really see chatbots that much, but anyway, I can talk about chatbots later. But one thing I haven't really seen is more on the governance side. I know that some of the tools, they apply a governance model on to whatever your stack is, but I'm also working on a consortium side for AIUC-1.com, and we're taking a look at a holistic view of several different frameworks and applying that to all these different things that all these companies are trying to do.
That's awesome. And what got you to coming in today in RSA?
Well, I've been hitting up a bunch of different events and meeting a lot of new people, connecting with friends. And today I decided to walk the floor a little bit, maybe get some stuff for the kids, some swag. But I also like talking with the companies too, and like trying to gauge their understanding of some of the products that they're trying to sell, right? So I like the poke and prod. And that's good for them, right? Cybersecurity is cutthroat, I said that before. So if they can talk the talk, then it's the next level about walking the walk.
That's true, that's very true. And everybody talks right here.
Yeah? There's a lot of talking right now.
Yeah. So I see you're a speaker today. You're a speaker here at RSA?
Not at RSA. I've been a speaker before. I've spoken at several events down at OC, whether it's Cloud Security Alliance. I think that's the one recently. But yeah, I've spoken to several events before. But I'm also a professor. So by day, I'm a CISO, and I'm building out to be a fractional CISO. But I also, I grade papers at night. So all the folks that are trying to get into this field, right, for leaders and managers. So I'm very tough on them.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So anybody who's trying to get into management and CISO, as a CISO, pretty much my perspective, my goal is to go to CISO one day. What type of advice would you give me?
Don't die on the vine for one risk, and then learn how to speak the language of the business. So if your CEO is saying, well, I want to drive acceleration of revenue, yada, 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 so you got to figure out what that means, right? It's not me, well, I have this critical risk over here, you need to solve it. None of that means anything to the CEO. The CEO is going to ask you, are we secure? Are we safe, right? So my advice is learn the language, ask clarifying questions, be on the same page.
That's good. Thank you, man. And how can they find
you can find me on LinkedIn, Greg.McCord, or Greg McCord, I think it might be combined. So that's where I'm at right now. Reach out to me there, and I'll be happy to connect with you, and we can talk about anything AI or cybersecurity related.
One more thing, now you mentioned about AI. What do you think about the future of AI?
It's interesting. We want to do a lot, and some of it's hype, some of it, from a business perspective, I see the value and the opportunity that AI brings. Part of me wants to say slow down, but the other part of me says, okay, well let's build a missile in flight, right? Let's see where this goes, and as we get the guardrails around it, it's just going to be that much more secure.
Do you still think that AI is hackable at this moment?
Oh, it's definitely hackable.
Definitely hackable?
Oh yeah, there are a couple articles out there.
Do you have any articles out there?
I don't specifically, no.
Do you have a book out there?
I am writing a book about my story specifically and how I got to this point. And I figured, it wasn't particularly easy. There was a lot of luck involved. And I figured, why not share my story so those who maybe get down on themselves, because as CISOs, we have to take care of our mental health. It's not easy. So why not have this book to kind of, hey, look, you can still do it, right? Just stick with it, keep going, take care of yourself, obviously, and find the path that you want to go and just keep pushing. Don't stop.
What advice would you give anybody that's trying to get into any type of career, they're a little bit discouraged or anything? What would you say? Reach out to somebody?
First and foremost, reach out to somebody, get support, ASAP. So.
Awesome. Thank you. And how'd you heard about me, man?
I heard about you through Jackie, CSA OC. She's the president. Jackie O. So there you go.
You want to say anything to the camera? There you go.
No, I don't want to say much other than can I just mention San Diego CyberCon and make sure everybody knows about that. That's a collaboration of a lot of our nonprofit cyber groups in San Diego and Orange County who are getting together to put on a nonprofit conference. Any money that we make goes back into the community. We have a bunch of people flying in to speak, and we're looking forward to having sponsors and other people come in and check it out. So go to sdcybercon.org and find out more about it. We're a 501c3, so any sponsorships are tax deductible.
Awesome. So what is, I know you mentioned it's a nonprofit organization and events. What do you think that is going to benefit people coming by? What would be the benefit?
It's all about education and cybersecurity awareness. And giving back to the community. So that's our big push there. And getting people to understand and know what the different groups are, like CSA, Cloud Security Alliance, ISSA, ISACA, OWASP, ISC Squared, and CCOE, which is in San Diego. It's a Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. So just so people know more about those different groups. Yeah.
How'd you heard about me?
On LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn?
Yes, I even met on LinkedIn, and now we actually met live at RSA. So
How do you think about RSA so far?
it's been crazy. I have to still do the whole north floor, so I got a lot to do still. Yeah, last day, but a lot to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any advice you want to give to anybody? Advice?
Just network, get to know people, and that's, to me, there's a lot of people out there looking for jobs. The best way to get a job is to network. Most of my jobs I've ever gotten are through people I know.
And that's pretty much how I met you. You were sharing posts.
Exactly, so just network. And go to your community, nonprofits, organization, group meetings, and you'll meet people there.
How can they find you?
On LinkedIn, under Jackie O. Got a bunch of flags next to my name.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.